We met Ms. Mulu sheltering at an IDP camp in Mekelle after she was forcibly expelled from Adabai in western Tigray by the Amhara expansionist groups and Eritrean Defense Forces. She says she witnessed the horrors of ethnic-based mass killings at Adabai, where her husband suffered a lot in prison and later died at the Debit IDP camp, northwestern Tigray. She says she was prohibited from serving food to her husband when he was in prison. Mulu says her husband died from torture-induced illnesses and lack of food and medicine.
When they first came, they rounded up all men from the church and took them and gathered them in a sesame store where the temperature was extremely boiling. They prohibited serving food and drink, and they would say, "We don't allow food to Tigrayanis. We want them die from hunger and suffocation." My husband suffered a lot in prison. They tortured him for months and released him. But he later died from the torture-induced illnesses and lack of medication, as we couldn't get medical service when we arrived at the Debit IDP camp.
Mulu says the Amhara militia and Fano vigilante groups, together with Eritrean forces, have committed unspeakable atrocities at Adabai, including arbitrary killings of innocent civilians and lootings of properties.
Unspeakable atrocities have been committed in Adabai. They took all the men they found in the church to prison. The other men they found in tavern houses and outside in the street were chased after and shot dead. Birasau and Mogas were among the deceased ones. They prohibited burying the bodies, so their bodies were eaten by scavengers. Many have been drowned into Tekaze River, attempting to flee the atrocities, and hundreds of youths have been taken to Eritrea and never returned.
Mulu also says life has become tougher even after she fled the gruesome atrocities in Adabai. She says she couldn't get enough food and clothing at the Debit IDP camp, and she came to another IDP center in Mekelle, having buried her husband there. Even after she arrived at Mekelle, she couldn't feed her mother, who is suffering from tuberculosis. Mulu says her sick mother is in dire condition as she couldn't tolerate the medicine she has been taking to treat TB without enough food.
I couldn't help my sick mother. She's 80 and she's suffering from tuberculosis. I have been providing her with food, selling the few utensils I have received from aid agencies. But now I have exhausted everything and my mother is suffering a lot as she could not tolerate the medicine she has been taking without enough food. Milk powder that I used to buy for 800 has now reached 1500 birr, a price that I couldn't afford. The life we're living is hard. No food, no proper clothing and bed.
The desperate woman called the international community to help her mother, who represents many suffering people in Tigray, to get the badly needed food.
My mom is quitting her medication because of lack of food, and this means she would die. I beg everyone to help me save my mother. The medicine is taken with milk, but milk is far from our reach now, so please help.